As we welcome the Nepalese New Year 2077 today and bid farewell to 2076, celebrations are expected to be largely limited in the face of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. However, we here at Kantipur Television would like to wish all our viewers a healthy, prosperous and a very happy New Year 2077. Good morning, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha and these are the headlines of the hour. Nepal welcomes the Nepalese New Year 2077 amid fear of the global outbreak of coronavirus. The year 2076 will go down in Nepalese history as quite an eventful year, especially for politicians in the country. The total number of coronavirus cases in Nepal climbs to 12 as 3 Indian nationals in Birganj test positive, the 3 Indian men in isolation at the Narayani Hospital in Birganj. Security threat at the open border looms in the face of rising coronavirus cases in India. Security put on high alert along the Indo-Nepal border to prevent cross-flow of people. And OPEC producers and allies agreed to a record oil deal that will slash global output by about 10% after a slump in demand caused by coronavirus lockdowns. It is the Nepalese New Year 2077 Bikram Sambat today. However, celebrations this time around have been largely limited as Nepal, like many other countries, is in lockdown to avoid an outbreak of the deadly coronavirus. As we bid adieu to the year 2076 and welcome the new year 2077 while still battling against the threat of COVID-19, here's looking back at the year gone by. We have a report.
Nepal is in a state of nationwide lockdown since 24th of March as the world reels under the threat of coronavirus. It is yet uncertain when the pandemic will come under control and the lockdown lifted. However, we bid adieu to the year gone by with a look back on the major national events. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's health condition was a major concern for all as he spent almost 4 weeks in Singapore for treatment following problems in his kidney transplanted 12 years ago in the Indian capital, New Delhi. The Premier underwent second kidney transplant at TU Teaching Hospital in the capital on 4th of March. The year began with the head of state, President Vidya Devi Bhandari, embarking on a week-long state visit to China, where a transit protocol was signed between the two countries. Premier Oli also embarked on a first prime ministerial level visit to the UK in 17 years. Likewise, Chinese President Xi Jinping visited Nepal on 11th of September, which was the first visit by Chinese president in 23 years. In November, India released its new political map, including regions within Nepal's Limpiadhura, Lipulek and Kalapani as its own, sparking controversy and widespread criticisms. Nepal took diplomatic initiatives in this regard, however the bilateral parley, even after more than 5 months since the incident, is still due. Another controversy flared up in Nepal as the US said the 55 billion rupees grant to Nepal under the Millennium Challenge Corporation MCC was part of Indo-Pacific strategy. The ruling party remained divided on whether to endorse the controversial MCC agreement through the parliament. Despite Premier Oli's support, the agreement is still under consideration as majority of the other influential leaders of the ruling party were against it. The other talk of the town was rape allegations against former Speaker Krishna Bahadur Mahara, which eventually compelled him to resign from his post. Mahara later received a clean chit in the case, however his political career since then has been severely dented. Mahara was not the only high-ranking official who landed into controversy this year. Government spokesperson and Premier Oli's confidant Gokul Baskota was alleged of massive corruption in procurement of security printing press. Many other influential leaders too caught controversy in the Lalita Niwas land scam. Land mafias, in collusion with leaders and government officials, were found to have sold 113 ropanis of government land to private individuals. Corruption watchdog CIA filed cases against 175 individuals, including former Deputy Prime Minister Bijay Kumar Gachadar, son of ruling Nepal Communist Party's General Secretary Bishnu Podal, and former Chief Commissioner for CIA Deep Bashnath. The year also saw the biggest cyber attack on Nepal's banking system so far. Chinese hackers were arrested on charges of heist of over 35 million rupees from various ATMs in Nepal and India. Last but not least, Nepal government's ambitious Visit Nepal 2020 campaign of bringing home at least 2 million tourists failed miserably due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic and the program ultimately withdrawn.
The total number of coronavirus cases in Nepal has climbed to 12 as 3 Indian nationals in Birganj tested positive for coronavirus. Senior advisor of the Health Ministry, Dr. Roshan Pokhrel, confirmed that the swab samples from the 3 Indian nationals were tested at the capital's National Public Health Laboratory and they tested positive for COVID-19. So far, 1 individual who tested positive for COVID-19 in Nepal has recovered. The 3 Indian nationals who tested positive had been living in a mosque in Birganj. Their samples were first tested in a laboratory in Hetauda with the results showing positive for coronavirus. The samples were then sent to the capital for confirmation. All 3 of the Indian nationals have been kept at isolation at the Narayani Hospital in Birganj. Of the 21 samples collected from 21 individuals living in the mosque, 18 other samples had tested negative for COVID-19. The 3 men currently in isolation at the Narayani Hospital are aged 37, 44, and 55. The Health Ministry has also stated that efforts are underway to trace all the people who came in contact with the infected Indian nationals. Maintaining and tightening security at borders with India have been both challenging and necessary for the Nepal government as 3 Indian nationals in Birganj tested positive for coronavirus. Prior to this, Sudir Paschim province was the focal point for the Nepal government as a large number of people had entered the region from India and other countries. We have a report.
Both Nepal and India have imposed a nationwide lockdown for almost 3 weeks now. Borders between the 2 nations have remained sealed. However, that has not stopped people from entering into Nepalese territory, making use of secret entry points. The open borders between the 2 countries has been attributed as the reason behind many people illegally entering Nepal. Nepal and India share an open border of 1,800 kilometers, and this has posed a great challenge for Nepal government as individuals entering through secret ways has raised the risk of coronavirus spread. The regions at high risk of coronavirus spread at the moment are Province 1, 2, and 5. Province 2 alone shares 465 kilometers of border with India. Officials say security personnel have been deployed at over 200 border points to monitor movements.
वारपार गर्ने बाटोदेखि अनि खोल्साहरू अहिले जुन सुकेको छ त्यस्तो ठाउँमा अहिले सीमा बोर्डर जुन लाइन छ हाम्रो 464 किलोमिटरको प्रदेश नम्बर 2 को जोडिएको त्यो लाइनमा 1000 भन्दा बढी जनशक्ति थप बाहिरबाट काठमाडौँबाट हेडक्वार्टरले पठाएको र हाम्रो यहाँको पनि भित्री बेसमा भएको अन्य हाम्रो युनिटमा भएको पनि मिनिमम न्यूनतम जनशक्ति मात्रै सुरक्षामा राखेर सम्पूर्ण जनशक्ति त्यसरी बोर्डरमा चाहिँ अहिले फोकस गरेर पठाएको छ.
As 3 Indian nationals living in a mosque in Birganj tested positive for COVID-19, the government has an added responsibility of identifying and tracing down all those who came in contact with the 3 infected individuals. Officials say Sudur Paschim is slightly less challenging as the region is bordered with Mahakali River and the national park. For remaining of the border length, armed police force say additional personnel have been deployed to increase security and they were prepared to completely close the market if needed.
किसानकै भेष राख्ने वस्तु चलाउने धमरी आउने त्यो किसिमको चाहिँ अलिकति ट्रेन अस्ति देखिएको थियो. अहिले चाहिँ टोटली बन्द गर्ने त्यसमा कुनै पनि किसिमको अब अहिले कम्प्रोमाइज छैन अरु कुरामा इमोसन नदेखो नि भन्ने हिसाबले मात्रै सेक्युरिटी लक इज लक सील इज सील भन्ने हिसाबमा हामी त्यसरी लागेको छौं. अहिले अब त्यस्तो अब छुटपुट पनि आउँदैन भन्ने हामी आशा गरेछौं.
Experts opine the government has no alternative to beef up security at the borders as the number of coronavirus cases has been rising in India in recent time.
Welcome back. It is the 21st day of the ongoing nationwide lockdown today. While majority of the public remained indoors and abided by the government-imposed lockdown for most of the lockdown period so far, many people were out with equal number of vehicles plying in the streets yesterday. The number of vehicles defying the lockdown has been the highest on the 20th day of the lockdown yesterday. Vehicles that did not have special passes provided by the District Administration Office were booked for plying in the streets yesterday. This comes a day after Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli directed his government to tighten the ongoing nationwide lockdown, citing the coronavirus crisis was yet to be controlled. The Metropolitan Traffic Police has said they have maintained their checks at all designated places. However, the number of vehicles on the streets had gone up as many government officials have begun resuming work. Likewise, the Metropolitan Traffic Police also said the number increased as many people had made orders of daily essential items online. The department seized around 250 vehicles for yesterday for defying the lockdown. The World Bank has predicted Nepal's economic growth will shrink by 1.5 to 2.8% in the ongoing fiscal year as economic and tourism activities have come to a standstill due to the coronavirus crisis. A study report by the World Bank states the pandemic will mostly affect lower income groups. Likewise, according to the World Bank, those working in the transport sector, hospitals, among others, will be the most affected. The overall economic growth of South Asia will shrink by 1.8 to 2.8% in the year 2020. Likewise, the World Bank has predicted the ongoing crisis will limit economic growth to between 3.1 to 4% in 2021. The economic growth 6 months ago was 6.3%. The World Bank has stated that South Asian economy has reached its worst in 40 years. Welcome back. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question. How did you see the Nepalese year 2076? Your options are A, fruitful, B, full of promise, and C, a year of terror. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And it's time now for the sports news.
Sports news.
The Nepalese year 2076 turned out to be quite remarkable for the sports sector in Nepal. The historic achievements in the 13th South Asian Games made this past year unforgettable as far as the Nepalese sporting fraternity was concerned. The 51 gold medals in the 13th South Asian Games, swimmer Gaurika Singh's swimming feat, a surge by women volleyball players, and the lifting of Cannes suspension gave quite a few reasons to smile in the year 2076. We have a report.
The year began with the hastily arranged 8th National Games. The Games were far from controversy as they lacked quality, inferior infrastructure, while swimming event was conducted in hotel pools. Over 1 billion rupees had been spent on infrastructure development for the National Games that was seen as a preparation for the 13th South Asian Games. The National Sports Council made up for all the lapses during the 13th SAG held in November. Nepal achieved a historic feat with a haul of 51 gold medals as Nepal dominated martial arts event, clinching 32 martial arts gold out of a total of 51. The highlight of Nepal's achievement were the performance of swimmer Gaurika Singh with 4 gold medals and return of taekwondo player Aisha Shakya, who dedicated her 2 golds to her newly born child. Santoshi Shrestha also did the nation proud, clinching the first athletic gold in 23 years. Meanwhile, there were mixed results in cricket. The cricket governing body CAN found a new leadership as the ICC suspension on CAN lifted after 3 years. Paras Khadka parted ways from the captaincy of the national cricket team, while the reins of leading Team Nepal fell on the soldiers of Gyanendra Malla. The first ever one-day international series was played in Nepal, where the home team out on a dismal performance against Oman and America. Nepal also failed to make it to the T20 World Cup and Asia Cup's global qualifiers. The footballers had a chance to play against Australia under the World Cup qualifiers, where the team's performance despite the loss was lauded, while the Booters revived hopes with a win against Chinese Taipei. Football also returned to the capital's Dashrath Stadium as Nepal defeated Bhutan for the SAG gold. Nepal's women volleyball players also put up an unforgettable performance as they ended up with SAG silver. Despite the sporting events coming to a grinding halt in Nepal as well due to the ongoing threat of COVID-19 towards the end of the year 2076 as a whole will be remembered as a remarkable year for Nepalese sports.
Former Chelsea and England goalkeeper Peter Bonetti has died at the age of 78 after a long illness. Bonetti was described by Chelsea as a goalkeeping superstar of the 1960s and 1970s and one of the club's all-time great players. He was part of England's 1966 World Cup winning squad but was unused throughout the tournament. Bonetti made 7 England appearances and featured in the 1970 World Cup quarter-final defeat by West Germany. As well as playing 729 times for Chelsea, Bonetti also had brief spells at American side St. Louis Stars, Dundee United and Woking FC during a career which spanned more than 3 decades. Only former Chelsea captain Ron Harris has made more appearances for the Blues, and Bonetti held the record for the most clean sheets until January 2014 when Peter Cech surpassed him. And it's time now for our special segment, Off the Beat.
The daily activities of rural people in Lamjung has witnessed a massive change during the extended nationwide lockdown. The locals have resorted to making traditional products mainly used in routine rural life. Since these locals have been confined to their houses, they have indulged themselves in weaving traditional items locally named as doko, dalo and thunche made of bamboo. Likewise, they are also utilizing wool made out of sheep fleece to make traditional blankets and clothes. These activities have greatly eased their stay in homes during the lockdown period and have also helped in boosting some income. Such economic activities have also helped curb people's attachment with television and internet, while some locals are also engaging themselves in farming activities, adopting maximum caution due to the possible outbreak of COVID-19. With the extended period of lockdown, people from different parts of the country have continued to walk to their respective home districts. Meanwhile, youth volunteers in Chitwan have kicked off a novel campaign of providing food to these people, most of whom are taking long routes on empty stomach. A group of 10 men who hailed from Bardia in the far west and had started their long march from Kathmandu this Tuesday arrived in Chitwan's Narayan Ghat a day later. These men had covered a distance of almost 80 kilometers after walking for more than a day. They had started their journey without any substantial food, as the eateries and other grocery shops too have remained shut in this period of lockdown. They felt a big sigh of relief after they were provided with some food by the local volunteers in Narayan Ghat's Pulcho. Many people could be seen taking the route through Chitwan either to travel to the place in far west or Jhapa in the east. The extended lockdown period, meanwhile, is taking its toll on the fish farmers from Bara district. The local authority has put a clampdown on the sales of fish considering the possible outbreak of novel coronavirus. This has prevented local fish farmers and people in the fishing business from selling their fish locally produced in Bara. Fish farmers in Bara, especially in Bodban, which is called as Fish Village, are therefore worried about their source of income. There are some 800 fish ponds in Bodban area. The fish farmers have not been able to sell their fully grown fish, while this has prevented them from releasing baby fish or fry into the pond water, an annual activity conducted between March to May. There are around 7,000 fish ponds across Bara district, some 5,000 fish farmers and a large number of people involved in the business. The fish market in Bara has been completely shut down with the start of the lockdown. It may be recalled that Bara was supplying 60 to 70 quintals of fish to different parts of the country. Presently, the fish farmers, with assistance from local youths, have been sending 6 to 8 quintals of fish to Kathmandu and Pokhara. This is Sarah Sapsanama for Off the Beat and Kantipur News Desk.
And that's all for the moment. Keep watching Kantipur Television HD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a very happy new year and stay safe.